Hi team, throughout this presentation I will be referencing an article written by America's Quarterly regarding the China-US trade wars, and more specifically the impact on Latin America. This directly correlates with this week's learning materials on cross-national cooperation and agreements. I'll quickly explain some background information to better understand the trade war between the US and China. In the past few years, the US has imposed tariffs and other trade barriers on China with the intent to make changes to unfair trade practices and intellectual trade practices. We are currently in the phase one of trade deal with China, in which China is to substantially increase imports from the US and the US is to reduce tariffs. The relationship between China and Latin America and the Caribbean has grown due to trade and broader economic considerations. China has embarked on several bilateral agreements, including the creation of the BRICS group, to help increase the relationships between China and Brazil specifically. Trade between China and Latin America and the Caribbean, otherwise known as LAC, has held steady at approximately $315 billion in 2020. Practically unchanged from 2019, which is remarkable due to the pandemic wreaking havoc on LAC exports overall in 2020. This caused an estimated 11.3% year-on-year contraction, which included a 14.6% decline in shipments to the US. China also registered a 2.1% year-on-year increase in exports from LAC. Over the past 20 years, the LAC in China has seen impressive trajectory exemplifying the resilience of the relationship. Bilateral trade grew more than 25 times, and China's share of total LAC trade multiplied eightfold from 1.7% to 14.4%. The demand and supply dynamics between these trade flows are well known. Chile, Peru, and Brazil are among the world's top exporters of products such as copper, iron ore, soybean, and beef. China is by far the world's largest consumer and importer, with its demand holding steady throughout the pandemic. Based on current trajectories, China could overtake the US as LAC's overall largest goods trading partner during the next 2 decades. In March of 2019, Mexico became the United States' #1 trading partner, with the entirety of LAC being the fastest growing regional trade partners. Although the trade war was between China and the US, other nations did not avoid the tensions without being impacted negatively. Global demand, trade, and investment uncertainties during the height of the trade war reinforced a downward trajectory in commodity prices as well as stagnation in volumes. In 2018, when the US and China levied tariffs against each other, LAC felt the effects shortly after. In 2019, the region saw the value of its exports contract by 2.4% year-on-year, with a weakening performance in nearly every country. Our textbook highlights the bilateral agreement between the US and China, noting that no agreement is ever easy. Regional trade agreements are reciprocal pacts between 2 or more partners that range from bilateral treaties to larger regional groups of countries. As noted in the text, negotiations between the US and China resulted in ups and downs in the stock market worldwide. This further explains the waves felt in Latin America as each country further explores economic and trade options there. It is inherently important that the LAC continues to follow and monitor US policy actions and guidance related to China. Any US-led initiatives could focus attention on potential reshoring, nearshoring, or regional integration opportunities in LAC. They also must mitigate any possible collateral damage by reviewing any licensing agreements in the US to ensure they are not also doing business with Chinese firms and individuals who are on the US sanctions list. Further guidance of LAC and China's relationship will be explored at this year's ministerial forum. Aside from this, LAC should follow any shifts in China's consumption patterns for potential new opportunities, especially with the growth of China's second-tier cities. The main goal for most LAC countries is to remain neutral and not choose between the US and China when it comes to trade. It is important for the nation to have relationships and trade with both powerhouse countries. Especially when recovering from COVID-19, the region will need all the support and sources of growth available to them.